Peace and shalom, Fountain of Israel family. This is Brother Robert, and I want to thank you for joining me this week. What I decided to do was take some of our lessons and categorize them and make playlists so that you can enjoy and focus on the topics that interest you, as well as the topics that you may want to share with others. So go back to the YouTube page, check out the various playlists, and they could go from being new to Torah or the Torah law. It could be about prophecy. It can be about false doctrine, but I want to put particular lessons together so that you can find it in an easy to search format. So just check out the playlist in our Fountain of Israel YouTube channel. Enjoy the lesson. Peace. All praises to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and peace to everyone joining us on this program. Shabbat Shalom, Israel. And it's an honor for me to stand before you on the Lord's Sabbath day. Now, I'm going to get right into it. If you've been following us, you know we've been doing a series called The End of Days. And this will be part 3 of The End of Days. Now, what we have learned and we've gone through and explained and pretty much went in depth in part 1 were the 7 seals, and then later we went to the 7 trumpets, the 7 bowls / vials, and we landed at the end of part 2. We kind of landed right in there with Armageddon and stuff like that. Okay, so we're going to get into those type of things. But the end of days, that is what's contained in the end of days. All the events that culminates in Armageddon, the millennial reign, and finally the white throne room judgment, where we go into eternity. Okay, so we want to go and take a look at it. Now we're going to take a look at who is judging all of this. Who is making all these things happen? All these things come to pass, or will soon come to pass. We want to take a look at that and understand exactly who we are dealing with. Okay. With that being said, I want to start at John chapter 5. John chapter 5. And let's go further in our journey of the end of days. And I want to look at John chapter 5, and let's begin at verse 22 so that we understand something right out of the gate. Right off the rip, we're going to understand who we're dealing with. John chapter 5, verse 22, proceed.
For the Father judges no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son.
Okay, so don't we have our answer right there? It's really that simple. The Father doesn't judge. It's all given to the Son. He's coming to what? Judge and make war. He's making his determination. He paid the price. He know what he bought, and he knows the people who reject him. So he's going to make that determination. Okay, he's fixing everything. The Father don't deal with the flesh. Okay, he's not going to deal with that right now. Once the Son clean all that up, then you deal with the Father. Okay, all we've been dealing with has been the Son. Old Testament, New Testament, we've been dealing with the Son. You may have been talking about the Father sometimes, but you were not dealing with the Father. Understand? Okay, so he said in verse 22, and we're going to continue, for the Father judges no man, but has committed all judgment unto the Son. Go ahead, brother.
That all men should honor the Son.
Yes.
Even as they honor the Father. He that honoreth not the Son, honoreth not the Father, which has sent him.
That's 2 again. So that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honoreth not the Son, honoreth not the Father, which has sent him. Because the Father said, okay, Son, you take care of all that. You take care of all of it. Okay, and that's exactly what he's doing. Continue, brother.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life.
Yes, sir, because, you know, when he comes, he has his reward with him. And you hear me say it all the time. Immortality, access to the kingdom. Being able to commune and dwell with God himself. To become an immortal. How would you like to trade in your worries and tribulations of this world for a world with no disease, no sickness, don't have to go to work, Don't have to do all that. I didn't say you don't have to do anything, but you don't have to go to work in your 9 to 5. No landlords, no pink slips, none of that stuff. No late bills due, no bad credits, none of that. No destruction. To understand what real peace is, like real peace, because right now we don't even understand what that really is, but we're talking about peace that surpasses all understanding. And you're wondering, how can this be so good? You ever been on vacation and seen beautiful, look over the horizon, it's beautiful, it's nice, it's peaceful, you smell clean air, you hear birds chirping and all that. It gets even better than that. And we can hardly imagine that. Okay, verily I say unto you, he that heareth my words and believe on him that sent me has everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Continue.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they that hear shall live.
Yes, sir.
For as the Father hath life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself.
Go ahead.
And hath given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man.
Yes.
Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation.
Yes, sir. Okay, we're going to stop right there. Let's go on over now. We know he's coming. We know he's coming. Go to Zechariah. Okay, we know he's coming. We know who's doing the judgment. We know when he shows up, he's going to be calling people out of the grave. And remember, the grave everywhere. The dust of the earth, people who died at sea, people who got mangled by animals, and everywhere. Okay? You got cremated. Everyone, where nothing will escape his. No one of his will have died in vain. Make sense? There's no one that belongs to him that he will not be able to get back. That's what we got to remember. That's the beautiful part of it. That's the beautiful part. No one of his will have died in vain. Okay, so let's go to Zechariah 14. We know he's coming. Let's see where he's going to go. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. 14 and 1. Zechariah 14 and 1. Go ahead, brother.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the woman ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
Because it's going to look bad before it gets, it's going to look worse before it gets better. Okay, so a lot of bad things are going to happen, but all of it has to come to pass. And this is a part of God's judgment, okay? This is the prescription that he has put forth. These things have to happen, and they have to happen the way he is prescribing it. Go ahead, brother.
Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle.
And verse 4.
And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives.
Do we know where he's going to be now?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Which is before Jerusalem on the east, and the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west, and there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south.
Go ahead.
And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah. And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee.
And all the saints with thee. He's going to call people out of the grave, give them new bodies, and when he start heading over towards Jerusalem in the Mount of Olives, guess who's going to be with him? His saints. Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's royalty. It's royalty coming to town or coming to earth, and you're meeting him and escorting him and going wherever he goes. That's the picture. That's all that's happening. Okay, go ahead, brother.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night. But it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light.
Okay, go ahead. We'll read 8 and then move on.
And it shall be in that day that living waters shall go out from Jerusalem, half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. In summer and in winter shall it be.
Okay, now we're going to come back to Isaiah towards the end of this. We'll come back to it and read it, but we're going to move on right now so we can understand where he's going to be. We know that he's going to stand on the Mount of Olives, okay? So let's go to Isaiah 42. Let's go back a couple of books. Let's go to Isaiah 42. We will come back to Zechariah at the end. But for right now, let's go to Isaiah 42. Let's get some of the characteristics of our God when he comes and shows up. And the reason why I'm going through this is so that we understand that the whole lamb part of God, when he came at his first advent, that part is gone. Even though he's still the Lamb of God or the sacrifice of the Father, I understand that. But the attitude he had when he came the first time is not the attitude he's going to have when he comes the second time. You understand? Okay, this is what I want to point out. Isaiah 42 and go to verse 13. Isaiah 42 and 13. Go ahead, brother.
The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. He shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, war. He shall prevail against his enemies. I have long time holding my peace. I have been still and refrained myself. Now will I cry like a travailing woman. I will destroy and devour at once.
Okay, this is the war cry. You guys heard people go to war and everything, and they're screaming and shouting and stuff. This is a war cry. This doesn't sound like a docile, timid Lord, now does it? It's not gonna be that way, and we're gonna look at some more of this. Go ahead, brother.
I will make waste mountains and hills and dry up all their herbs, and I will make the rivers islands, and I will dry up the pools. I will bring the blind by a way that they know not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them.
Okay, now we're in Isaiah. Now go to Isaiah chapter 11 real quick. Just go back a couple chapters. Go to chapter 11. Okay, this is going to be true leadership that's going to show up on the scene, brothers and sisters. Okay, Isaiah 11. Pick it up at verse 1 if you don't mind, brother. Go ahead.
And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord.
What else?
And shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears.
What else?
But with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with iniquity for the meek of the earth.
And the meek shall inherit the earth, right?
Yes,
so
sir.
he's going to make the judgment of who gets to stay here and who doesn't. Go ahead.
And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked.
Shall he slay the wicked. Drop down to verse 10 for me, brother. Go ahead. Verse 10.
And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, who shall stand for an ensign of the people. It shall be the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious.
Yes, it shall, brother. Yes, it shall. We're going to go back to that a little bit later, too. But let's go on over to Exodus 15 and verse 3. Let's get a few more characteristics of our Lord, or at least the one that is coming. And again, still our Lord, but I don't want anyone to have any misconception of the attitude or the characteristics that he's going to have when he shows up. So chapter 15, Exodus chapter 15. And let's just read just one verse, really. 15 and 3. And then we'll move on to Hebrews. Exodus 15 and verse 3. Go ahead, brother.
The Lord is a man of war. The Lord is his name.
Okay, so none of that docile stuff. Okay? Lord is a man of war. Now go to Hebrews 12. Let's read a little bit more. Hebrews 12. He means business when he comes back. Hebrews 12. Okay, Hebrews 12. And verse 25 when you get there. Hebrews 12, verse 25 when you get there, brother. Go ahead.
See that you refuse not him that speaketh, for they escape not with For if they escape not who refused him that spake on earth, much more shall not we escape if we turn away from him that speaketh from heaven. Whose voice then shook the earth, but now he hath promised, saying, Yet once more I shake not the earth only, but also heaven.
Everything's going to be shook up. Go ahead.
And this word, yet once more, signifieth the removing of those things that are shaken, as of those things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain.
Go ahead.
Wherefore, we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved,
yes,
let us have grace, whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear.
What else?
For our God is a consuming fire.
Because our God is a consuming fire. Is a consuming fire. Okay? I just want to point out the seriousness. I want you guys to get the gravity of the situation. That's it. Not to scare you, just to have you to be sober in mind as the God that is coming, who he is, his characteristics, and not have this warm and fuzzy. You know, he's a loving God. He is. He's also just. He is. I'll be the first one to tell you, he's a very loving God, care about his kids, and he take care of them. But the wicked, he's not so nice. Fair enough? All right, let's go. Let's look. Let's look at one other thing. Psalm 110. Go with me to Psalm 110. Psalm 110. Because trust me, when he comes, he's not coming to play patty cakes. When he comes to judge and make war, I promise you. Psalms 110. And let's read all that. Psalms 110. Let's take a look at that. Pick it up at verse 1. Psalm 110, verse 1. Let's look at something real quick. Let's see one of the things that he's going to do when he gets here. Go ahead, brother.
The Lord said unto my Lord, Sit thou at my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstool.
What else?
The Lord shall send the rod of thy strength out of Zion. Rule thou in the midst of thine enemies.
What else?
Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, in the beauties of holiness, from the womb of the morning.
Yes.
Thou hast the dew of thy youth. The Lord has sworn and will not repent. Thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek.
That's his new priesthood, because the Lord came out of is a line of the tribe of Judah. And Melchizedek is not a Levite. Okay, so he's just a new priesthood. That's all it means after order of Melchizedek. Go ahead.
The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath.
Whoa. Read verse 5 again, brother. What he's going to do?
The Lord at thy right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath.
Okay, so not only does it tell you the Lord at thy right hand tells you that is two people, and that the Father is going to send the Son. And he said, when the Father says, okay, it's time, go. He's going to come, all right, at his orders, and he's going to judge and make war and turn his whole thing over, okay? Everything's going to be upside down. And at his right hands, and he says he will strike through kings in the day of his wrath. That means the people that are in power, a king is someone who's in power, right? He's going to strike through kings, all the nations of the earth, okay? He's going to get rid of all of them. He's going to do that in the day of his wrath. We know that hasn't happened yet because he's not running everything right now. So we know it hadn't happened yet, right? Nope. So the Lord at his right hand shall strike through kings in the day of his wrath. Verse 6, brother.
He shall judge among the heathen. He shall fill the places with the dead bodies. He shall wound the heads over many countries.
Does it sound like he's going to be real nice when he comes back here and he's going to say, hey, guys, you know, I really think I can do a better job. You guys mind if I take over? Doesn't sound like he's going to do it that way. It doesn't sound like they get a vote, does it? There'll be no ballot box on that day. Okay?
No democracy.
No. This is not a democracy. This is not a democracy. This is definitely a monarchy, a dictatorship, if you will. We will not be checking off Trump or Hillary. It's just not going to happen. Okay? That's not what's going on right here. Okay, he shall judge among the heathen, which is nations. He shall judge among the nations. He shall fill the places with dead bodies. Now, does that even remotely sound nice? Nope. Okay, all right. He shall wound the heads over many countries. The leaders of those countries will be hurt. Okay? And he shall drink the brook in the way. I'm sorry, verse 7. Go ahead, brother.
He shall drink of the brook in the way. Therefore shall he lift up the head.
It means he will have victory. Okay? He's going to have victory. It's really that simple. He's going to have victory. Now let's take a look at this over at Joel 3. Okay? This is part 3 of our series, End of Days. All right? So we're getting to the end of it all. Joel 3. Joel 3. Okay, Joel 3. And when we get to Joel 3, we will pick it up at verse 1. Okay? We're going to take a look at this war he's going to bring about. Joel 3. Okay? And when you get there, brother, pick it up at verse 1.
For behold, in those days and in that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
Let's pause for a second. Did this not happen right here? This part is true, people. He said, you know, I will also gather all the nations from all over the place. He's going to gather them. And he said, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, okay, the valley of decision, and or Armageddon in the Hebrew, Armageddon, okay, and will plead with them. And he's not pleading, begging, okay, that's not a begging, pleading. So don't get it twisted, okay. I will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel. So people, oh, Israel's done away with. No. He still has a plan for Israel. Still has a plan for Israel. This is the end of days that we're talking about. So he still has a plan for Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations. Is there a particular people that are scattered among the nations all over the world? Okay. And have parted my land. Are they not fighting over the land right now?
Yep.
Is there not a controversy in Zion right now, and always has been since Israel left? Always has been. He's going to come to settle that score too. Because people just take things way too far. And he's going to come settle that real quick. Verse 3, brother.
And they have cast lots for my people.
That is talking about selling people. Do we have a history of that?
Yes, sir.
People being sold? What else, brother?
And have given a boy for an harlot.
Yep.
And sold a girl for wine that they might drink.
Go ahead.
Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me, swiftly and speedily will I return your recompense upon your own head.
So you're gonna deal with me? You're gonna pay me back? You're gonna deal with me? Trust me. When you try it, I'm gonna deal with you. I'm gonna recompense you swiftly. Go ahead, brother.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things.
Has not the temple been ransacked? All the gold and the silver that's in the temple, people just took it and just did whatever they want with it and stuff. Remember Nebuchadnezzar's son, and when he was drinking out of it and everything, the writing on the wall, the hand and all that. But they've been doing that. When they when Rome was trying to burn down Jerusalem and stuff, and the gold that was in the walls and stuff was melted and stuff like rivers of gold. I mean, just destroyed the temple, because we know that Solomon didn't cut any corners when he built that temple, didn't he? The finest everything. Okay, there was gold inlaid in the wall and stuff, silver everywhere. All the am I looking at the utensils? I don't even want to say that, but all the goblets and the cups and the tablets and everything that are on, the candlesticks, everything, the finest, rubies, gold, everything, pearls, sapphires, everything. He used wood. He shipped the finest wood, everything. Okay, top notch. No need for him to be cheap. Wealthiest, smartest person on the planet at the time. So he didn't cut any corners. But because you have taken my silver and my gold and carried into your temples my goodly and pleasant things. Now, the things that are set apart and sanctified and holy unto the Lord goes into these other temples of false gods. Kind of upsets him. Okay? My goodly and pleasant things, verse 6, brother.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have you sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border.
Okay, now you can get to specific people. Because some people say, well, no. The children of Judah and Jerusalem have you sold to the Greeks. Now you can get very specific with your history. That you might remove them far from their border. So somebody was removed, or some people were removed far from their border, and I dare say scattered all over the world. Interesting. And we're going to continue. Verse 7.
Behold, I will raise them up. I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them.
Yep.
And will return your recompense upon your own head.
Ah, so some slavery is coming to somebody else, huh? Go ahead.
And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah.
Oh, they're going to have to serve Judah. But I didn't say that. We read that. Go ahead.
And they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it.
Well, nothing we can do about it, because he spoke it, and that's what's going to happen. So make your peace with it. Go ahead.
Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men.
Yep.
Let all the men of war draw near.
It says now, see, we're preparing for war. Let all the men draw near. Come on over. Come on over. Everybody who wants some of this, come get it. Go ahead.
Let them come up.
Yep.
Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong.
He is saying, arm yourself. Let's get ready. You want to do battle with me? Get your weight up. Let's go. Go ahead, brother.
Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord.
Go ahead, brother.
Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about.
What else?
But put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. The fats overflow, for their wickedness is great.
Yes.
Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in this valley of decision.
So we know where it's going to be. We know what's going to happen. We know that the other nations are going to be gathered unto this one place to make war. Kings of the north and the east and everywhere are going to come down because they want to deal with this person who they don't really recognize, and they want to make war. Get your best weapons, and he wants him to get it. Assemble, beat your plowshares in the swords. Arm yourself. Come on. Let the weak say I'm strong. No, you got tanks. Bring those. Come on to this war. Because the Lord is a man of war. It's not going to be a fair fight, but he wants you to think you had a chance. You can't say, well, if I had my tank or if I had my missile, maybe I could. Okay, bring that too. Bring that too. Come on. So now you know you're the man if you beat everybody at once. You know you're the man.
Hands down.
There's no dispute. He's going to be undisputed right there. You cannot. Well, he just beat up on. No. Everybody. That's who he beat up on. At the same time. Don't mess with this God. This is what's going to happen, people. Revelation 16. We'll come back. Revelation 16. You know what? You guys go to Revelation 16. You go back to Joel. Okay. I want y'all to go to Revelation 16. Meet me over there in Revelation 16. We're going to read a little bit more of Joel. I want a little bit more of the picture. Start back at 15, okay? Because his day, his day is not. His day, the Lord's day, is not just a literal 24-hour day. I'm sure we all smart enough in this room to know that it's not a literal 24 hours when all this stuff happens. And I know you guys who are watching knows that it's not a literal 24 hours when this happened. The day of the Lord is not one 24-hour day, because a lot of things are going to be happening. A lot of chess pieces will be moved to get into place to get us to Armageddon. And then that war takes place, okay? So, but I want to look at it some more. We know where it starts, but, you know, a lot of times when we're looking at scriptures and we put them together properly, okay, we know that they're referring to things that spans over time, okay? We know that, all right? We can see that. So let's go ahead and start. We know, I'm going to have you start in 15, but it says multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decision, because we know he invited all the nations. Come on down, get all your weapons, gather together. Let's do this. You guys want to fight? Then let's see what it's all about. Let me see what you got, okay? For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Verse 15, brother, go ahead.
The sun and the moon shall be darkened.
Mm-hmm.
The stars shall withdraw their shining.
Go ahead, brother.
The Lord also shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem.
Well, so see, again, we know where he's going to be. Again. Go ahead, brother.
And the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people.
Because a lot of people are going to be cheering on the Lord. The ones who didn't take the mark of the beast, because we talked about that, remember? The ones who didn't take the mark of the beast, the one whose suffering is about to end. They say, okay, I'm going through all this other stuff, but now they saw the one coming where the lightning goes far from the east to the west. That Lord, the right one, they saw that and they said, oh, ooh, okay, it's about to go down now. Okay.
Pull the popcorn out.
There you go. Get your popcorn ready because it is about to go down right now. And so they say, you know, the Lord also shall roar out of Zion. That's not quiet. Okay. And utter his voice from Jerusalem. We know where he is. We're going to hear him. And the heavens and the earth shall shake. Because we know all those elements that we read about in the seals and the trumpets and all that other stuff. I mean, by the time you get to this, you're about earthquaked out. Okay. All right. Okay. So, you know, all that stuff, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Still dealing with his children. Go ahead, brother.
So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion.
So you know exactly who's doing it. So you know that is Yahweh doing it. So shall you know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion. He's telling us where he's going to be again. Go ahead. My holy mountain. Go ahead, brother.
My holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her any more.
Yes, go ahead, brother.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness.
Because he's going to destroy all that. Going to destroy all them. Go ahead.
For the violence against the children of Judah.
And he told you why he's going to do it. Go ahead.
Because they have shed innocent blood in their land.
Go ahead.
But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation.
What else?
For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed. For the Lord dwelleth in Zion.
The Lord dwelleth where?
In Zion.
Pretty clear. You can read it for yourself. Anything else someone gives you, if they can't read it to you, it's speculation, right? I mean, that's really all there is to it. So now, let's go to Revelation. Now we're going to meet you guys over in Revelation 16. It's not going to be much. It's got to be much. But you got to, you got to give them a chance. You got to give them a chance. It is not much. But we know where he's going to be in Zion, Valley of Decision, Jehoshaphat, Armageddon. Let's look at it. 16 started in verse 12, brother. Start in verse 12.
And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up.
Why?
That the way of the kings of the east might be prepared.
He said multitudes of multitudes. They're all coming. He's preparing the way. He's not going to even try to stop them from coming. Just come on.
Way for them.
Yeah, he's making a way for them. I'm going to help you. Hey, I'm trying to get over there so I can fight. Okay, you just go right here. There's an open lane right there. I could check someone out on aisle 6 over here. Go ahead, brother.
And I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are the spirits of devils, working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world.
To do what?
To gather them to the battle of that great day.
See, the orders were giving. You see what I'm saying? Okay, orders were given to all the kings of the earth. Okay, yeah, we're going to go take them. We're going to get them. All right, let's go get them. All right? So, like he said, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon. So the devil gave his orders. And out of the mouth of the beast, okay, all this whole beast system, the devil, the false prophet, all and out of the mouth of the false prophet, all of them. They said, yes, let's go take this guy. Okay? You know, the eyes was flame of fire, hair like wool, that guy. You know, that guy. Let's go get him. We don't like him. Let's go get him. 14.
For they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth unto the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth and keepeth his garments.
Yes.
Lest he walk naked, and they see his shame.
Okay, now, you keep watching and you being ready, and you keep your garments and stuff. Not literally your clothes, but you should have your clothes on. But it is talking about you walking in the way, okay? Keeping the covenant, unless they see your shame. Lest they see the ones who are not covered or protected by God. Make sense?
Yes.
But the ones who are protected, there won't be any shame for them, because he's going to protect them in this day. And you want to be one of those people who are protected and keep his garment, lest he walk naked, without covering, without protection. Okay? That they see his shame. Okay? The ones who are protected will see the shame of those who are not protected. The ones who are protected can easily look and see, you know, they're being destroyed. They're working for the beast. They're following the orders of the false prophet and all that. They see that, and they see the plagues and the vials, because we're in the vials right now. We see all that happening to these people. We know there's their shame. There's condemnation. They're being punished. They're not following the Most High. Okay, so you don't want to be one of those people. Make sense? Okay, and 16 tells us exactly what's going on, where they are, and what is this called. Go ahead.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
See. Go ahead, brother.
And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, and there came a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, It is done. And there were voices and thunders and lightnings, and there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. So mighty an earthquake, and so great.
Okay, now let's take a look at, let's go up one chapter. Go to chapter 17, if you don't mind. Let's go to chapter 17, and we'll pick it up at verse 1. Chapter 17 and verse 1. Go ahead, brother.
And there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters.
Yep. Go ahead.
With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication.
This is that false religious system. There has to be a false religious system if you have a false prophet, right?
Yes.
Or is he's a false prophet of nothing? There's got to be a false religious system, okay? So this is what we're talking about. He has this false religious system, you know, the great whore, okay, that sitteth upon many waters, many people. There's religion. How many people know there are worldwide religions, okay, that sit on many waters, okay? People, all right, that sit on many waters, which whom the kings of the earth, all the powers that be, committed fornication, mixing and mingling a lot of paganism, right? It makes sense. They committed fornication. And what?
And inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication.
How many times have you actually tried to tell somebody what the Bible actually says and you get rejected? Because they're drunk with the wine of her fornication. They cannot listen. How many times have you tried to reason with a drunk person? You can't. They don't understand what you're saying. They babble. They don't. They just babble. They're incoherent. They don't get it because they're drunk. Same thing happened when someone is drunk with false religion. You cannot reason with them. You just can't. You try, but you can't. Some people have made up their mind. Some people are reprobate. Some people are given to strong delusion. Nothing you can do. You can try, but once you determine that they are drunk, you gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. I'm not saying you can never talk to someone. Give it a shot. But if they don't want to hear you, what does it even say in the Gospels? Shake the dust off your feet. You got to move on. Your job is never to convince. It's just to tell them. That's it. Make sense? You don't let someone say, "Oh, well, you gave up on them." And no, I try to talk to them. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it. Try to talk to them once, twice, 3 times. They don't want to hear it. You plant the seed. The Spirit is the one that waters it. What does that look like? That looks like, well, sometimes someone say, you know what, that guy, he was telling me about this stuff in the Bible. Maybe I ought to check it out. All right? That's how that works. Maybe I'll look into it. I'll save face in front of him, but I'll at least go Google it and check it out. It's the Spirit. All you can do is just plant the seed. That's it. That's it. That's all you can do. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. Verse 3.
So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns.
Go ahead.
And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet color, and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and filthiness of her fornication.
What else, brother?
And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth.
Now, I am sorry. This upsets a lot of people when you point out and you say, hey, I'm sorry, this is the Roman Catholic Church. I know a lot of people may look at this video, and if they've never seen any other lesson of mine, and they finally get to this part and they listen and they say, wait a minute, he said, you know, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, is the abomination of the earth. He said that's the Roman Catholic Church. I'm sorry if that offends you. But when I look at everything that happened, I've studied church history. Everything happened with church history and Roman Catholic history in particular. Everything fits like a glove. Everything. Now, of course, if you come from a Catholic perspective, you say, well, no, you know, that was like in Nero, and he did this, and he thought he was this, and he was kind of the Antichrist and all that. Okay, I'm not coming from that perspective, because all of the stuff doesn't fit. Sitting on 7 hills, and Rome is known for the city on 7 hills, and it fits like a glove.
Arrayed in purple and red.
Arrayed in purple and red.
Precious stones.
All that. Precious stone, mother of harlots. I'm sorry. What branch of Christianity came out of Roman Catholicism? All of them.
The mother of harlots?
All of them. Let me ask you, does Catholicism have any like paganism in it? Any idolatry in it?
Christmas, saints.
You don't say. Yeah, saints and stuff. You don't. No, really.
You don't say.
Any idolatry or any of that in there? And did her little harlot daughters follow suit? Yeah. Sorry. So if you're offended, I'm sorry. I cannot just spare your feelings. Praying for the dead, calling a man father. Call no man father upon earth, right? And they're talking about not your dad, not your literal father, but there are positions where people go and say, Father, I have sinned, and all that stuff. Don't do that. What about praying in vain repetition? What about that? Does that?
Yeah.
I mean,
Hail Marys.
Yeah, the Hail Mary, praying to Mary. What? Yeah. So what? This is not a coincidence. I'm sorry. It fits like a glove. So hey,
for meat.
Yeah, if you purgatory, where's that in the Bible? Purgatory and all that. So I'm sorry if you're offended. Hey, you don't get mad at me. You got to go and figure some things out. So let's see what is going to happen. See, we're talking about Armageddon, and we're talking about where they are in the fight and everything. It's all over the Bible, people. We were just in the Old Testament. Now we're all the way in Revelation. I want you to go to verse 14 for me, brother. Just verse 14. 17, 14.
These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them. For he is the Lord of lords, and the King of kings. And they that are with him are called and chosen and faithful.
That's us. That's what we hope to be. All right? Now, go to Psalms 2. We'll go back to Revelation in a little bit. Go to Psalm 2. Psalm chapter 2. Because they have in their mind that they can take the Lord. They have in their mind that they can take him. I think we can beat him. I think we can. Okay? So, and this is not a new thing. This has obviously been prophesied and everything. Because sometimes people think, like the book of Psalm is like just a book of songs you sing, hymns and stuff. But, I mean, it's an actual book, but
call David a prophet.
That's why David is a prophet. He's a prophet king. You know, he's a prophet king. Now, since he had royal duties and kingly duties and stuff, he did have a priest next to him and stuff like that because he had king duties to do, okay, running a whole nation. It's kind of a big deal. So he had someone to, you know, kind of his confidant in that sense, you know. Yeah.
Two. It's a good picture of two.
A good picture of two. Again, that's a good, well, you're right. You're right. You're right. So let's look at Psalm 2. And it's all over the Bible, brothers and sisters. Psalm 2, pick it up at verse 1. We're going to read verse 1 and 2, and then we're going to move on.
Why do the heathen rage, and the people imagine a vain thing?
Pause 1 second. Now, he said, why do the heathen rage? Now, who is he gathering all into the valley? Heathens. A bunch of heathens. Okay, so why do they rage, and why do they imagine such a wicked thing? What is it that they imagine in verse 2?
The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away the cords from us.
Go ahead.
He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord shall have them in derision.
He's going to have them all confused because there's going to be a time, and I think we're going to read in there, there's going to be a time where, and your sword will be against your neighbor and stuff. Not talking about us, brothers and sisters. We're talking about even in that valley, in that battle, a lot of the fighting, he's just going to have them confused. They're going to be fighting each other.
Yeah. You know, blinder horses.
Yeah. Blind. Yeah. They just, you know, guidance systems and stuff's not working. They launch a rocket and stuff. Supposed to hit him, but it hit one of their own troops. You know. A lot of confusion there. He sitteth in heaven and shall laugh. That ought to tell you how afraid he is of this big war that's coming on. The Lord shall have them in derision. Go ahead, brother.
Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure.
Go ahead, brother.
Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion.
Go ahead.
I will declare the decree. The Lord has said unto me, Thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee.
Now that's a prophecy. Okay, that's prophecy. But what we're gonna do? Well, you know, read 8 and then we'll move on.
Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance.
Yep.
And the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession.
Okay, so sit thou at my right hand until I make thy enemies thy footstool. So the father is telling him, hey, son, you know, you're gonna have the whole earth, and you're gonna take care of the heathens that rage. I'm gonna knock them off and take care of that. And what is he gonna do in verse 10? Verse 9. I'm sorry, in verse 9. What is he gonna do?
Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel.
Okay, so like my wife said, it's not gonna be much of a fight. It's not. It's just it's not gonna be that much of a fight. So you probably won't be able to finish your whole bag of popcorn. It's gonna be over pretty quick. Okay, it's gonna be over pretty quick. So I would not get up to go to the restroom or anything. You might miss something. Okay, so Isaiah 34. Isaiah 34. Yeah, it's gonna be one of them real quick fights. Real quick. Isaiah 34. Isaiah 34. And when we get to Isaiah 34, let us read verse 1. Isaiah 34, verse 1. Let the Bible speak.
Come near, ye nations, to hear and hearken, ye people. Let the earth hear and all that is therein, the world and all things that come forth of it.
None of this is going to be a secret. Come here, the Lord will roar, the Lord, his voice will shout. Come here and listen, look at this, watch that. It's just going to be a grand spectacle. Go ahead, brother.
For the indignation of the Lord is upon all nations, and his fury upon all their armies. He hath utterly destroyed them. He hath delivered them to the slaughter.
Go ahead.
Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountains shall be melted with their blood.
Wow. Go ahead.
And all the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heaven shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down, as a leaf falleth off from the vine, and as a fallen fig from the fig tree.
Go ahead.
For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon
Idumea.
And upon the people of my curse to judgment.
That's the Edomites, Idumea. Go ahead.
The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams.
It's about a sacrifice, but go ahead.
For the Lord hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea.
That's what he's talking about. It is a sacrifice. That's what he's meaning. It's symbolic of all. He's going to kill a lot of people. Okay, he's going to kill a lot of people. Go ahead, brother.
And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and their dust made fat with fatness.
Go ahead, brother.
For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion.
All right, brother. That's what we needed. That's what we need right there. Let's go to Revelation 19. Let's go to Revelation 19. This is what we're talking about. This is going to be a serious, serious day. We know this hadn't happened yet. It's going to be a serious, serious day. No games will be played this day. So let's take a look. Okay. Revelation 19. Let's pick it up at verse 11. 19 and 11. 19 and 11. Let's take a look. Let's look at our God, the one who we serve, the one who we are paying attention to every Shabbat. Go ahead, 19 and 11.
And I saw heaven opened, and behold a white horse, and he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness he doth judge and make war.
He does judge and make war. Go ahead.
His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns.
Because he's the King of Kings. Go ahead.
And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself.
So let's put the rest of the whole name, sacred name stuff, okay? So when he gets back, that name that you think you're using, you probably won't be using that either. Go ahead.
And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God.
Go ahead, brother.
The armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
What else?
And out of his mouth goeth a sharp sword, that with it he shall smite the nations.
What else?
And he shall rule them with a rod of iron. And he treadeth the winepress of the fierceness of wrath of Almighty God.
And when he tread the winepress, that is war. When you tread the winepress or you step on grapes, what happened? The juice, it gets smashed, and the juices come out. Humans get smashed, what's going to come out? Blood. Okay? So when he tread the winepress, it's a word picture. When he treaded the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of the Almighty God, means he is not playing. Okay? Verse 16.
And he hath on his vesture and on his thigh a name written, King of Kings and Lord of Lords.
Amen. Go ahead.
And I saw an angel standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of heaven, Come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great God, that ye may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great.
Now y'all see what the battle of Armageddon really is? It's just he's just going to feed the fowl of the air, because the bodies is going to stack. It's just going to be bad. The mountains will be bathed in blood. It's going to be bad. It won't be time to bury anybody. He's just going to call the fowls and the beasts of the field. Eat up. Dinner time. Great supper of the Lord. That's how bad it's going to be. That's how ugly it's going to be. It's not nice. It's not going to be nice. And people, they don't like to mess with Revelation or whatever. So far, it's not that hard, is it? Not really. Go ahead, brother.
And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army.
Go ahead.
And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, and them that worshipped his image.
And what happened?
These both were cast alive into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone.
Yeah, okay, and there it is. There it is. Okay? That's what's going to happen to these people. That's what's going down. Let's look at it a little bit more, and then we're going to look at the destiny of one of these nations in particular. Okay, I'd love to stay on this part here, but we do have to keep moving. So let's go to Isaiah 13. Let's go to Isaiah 13. Are you with me, Israel?
Sir.
Let's do it. Okay, so Isaiah 13. Okay, Isaiah 13, and we'll pick it up at verse 1 when you get there, brother. And when you get there, let the Bible speak.
The burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles.
Go ahead.
I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones from mine anger, for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness.
Yes.
The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle.
Yep, getting them ready. Go ahead.
They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land.
He's getting ready. Go ahead.
How ye? For the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty.
That's what's going to happen, brothers and sisters. He telling them, get yourself ready. Bring all your weapons, all your stuff. Take counsel. Go ahead and get your war plans ready and everything. And come on with it. Go ahead, brother.
Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall melt. And they shall be afraid. Pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another. Their faces shall be as flames.
Yep, go ahead, brother.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it.
So who is he going to destroy?
The sinners.
He's going to destroy the sinners thereof out of it. That's why he's going to do it. What are the conditions of the earth is going to be like when he does this? Verse 10.
For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine.
Go ahead, brother.
And I will punish the world for their evil.
Why is he doing all this? He's going to what?
I will punish the world for their evil.
Okay, go ahead.
And the wicked for their iniquity.
What else?
And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease. And I will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible.
The people who are arrogant, got the big head, think they know it all, think they have all power, he's going to lay them low. Understood?
Yes.
Go ahead, brother. Verse 12.
I will make a man more precious than fine gold. Even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir.
Okay, so even a man than a golden wedge of Ophir. I'm going to make a man more precious than fine gold. So when multitudes and multitudes are dying, when they enter that wine press, when they enter that war and get killed, and a lot of people, you know, the blood shall fill up to the horse's bridle and all that stuff, just blood. Man's going to be pretty rare, isn't he? He's going to be pretty rare. So he means what he says. I will make a man more precious than fine gold. Man, it's going to be pretty rare when multitudes upon multitudes will gather in that day to try to make war with the Lamb, and it's not going to be successful. 13, brother.
Therefore I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place, in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's move on. Now, let's see what's going to happen, because everybody has a role, all these different nations and stuff, but there is a role in particular. Let's go to this little red book, Obadiah. Let's go on over to Obadiah, and let's see what's going to happen to Esau and Idumea, and let's look at what's going to happen to these people. Obadiah chapter Obadiah. Okay, let's go. Verse 1. Let's start in verse 1. Then we're going to skip to 6. Go ahead. So we're going to see what's going to happen concerning Edom, Idumea, just so we have, for clarity. Okay, we're going to see what's going to happen to them in that day. Verse 1, and then we'll skip to 6. Go ahead, brother.
The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
So it's about to go down. Verse 6, brother.
How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border.
Mm-hmm.
The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee,
Mm-hmm.
and prevailed against thee.
Mm-hmm.
They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee.
Mm-hmm.
There is none understanding in him.
Mm-hmm.
Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom?
Yes, he will. Go
and
ahead.
understanding out of the mountain Esau?
Because they already, Esau does not like Jacob. Esau and his descendants does not like Israel and his descendants. They just don't. So every chance they got in history, every chance they got, they betrayed Israel, okay, stabbed them in the back, helped sell them into slavery, perpetuated the punishment, and furthered the affliction. We'll get more into that another time, but continue, brother.
And thy mighty men,
Mm-hmm.
O T-men,
Mm-hmm.
shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
Go ahead.
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob,
Uh-huh.
shame shall cover thee,
Yep.
and thou shalt be cut off forever.
Go ahead, brother.
In the day that thou stoodest on the other side,
Mm-hmm.
in the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces,
Look at what he did. Go ahead.
and foreigners entered into his gates,
Uh-huh.
and cast lots upon Jerusalem,
Mm-hmm.
even thou wast as one of them.
You were just like them when your brethren, your cousins getting carried away, Jerusalem getting ransacked and taken over. You just standing by, just looking at it happen, like, hey, that's you guys. It's supposed to be your brother. This is supposed to be your brother. What did it say? In the day that thou stood it on the other side, just watched it happen. In the day that the strangers, so we get the picture, carried away captive his forces, all the people, and foreigners entered into his gates, into Jerusalem, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, sold everything, just went in there, and, okay, yeah, I'm going to get this, I'm going to take that building, I'll take that, sell this person, sell that person, sell that person, and Esau just stood by. And cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was one of them, even thou was as one of them. You were just like them. Verse 12, brother.
But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger.
Yep, go ahead.
Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction.
Nope, you shouldn't have been happy about that. Go ahead.
Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of distress.
Go ahead, brother.
Thou shouldest not have entered into the gate of my people in the day of their calamity.
Yep, go ahead.
Yea, thou shouldest not have looked on their affliction
Go ahead.
in the day of their calamity, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity.
And they did. They took their substance in the day of their calamity. So someone is impersonating Israel when the opportunity became available. And we're giving aid and money and all this other stuff, and they're not saying anything. Nope. Oh, we're Israel. Yeah, we're Israel. Yeah, we're the Jews. And doesn't the Lord say something about people pretending to be Jews in Revelation 2:9 and 3:9?
Do lie.
Yeah. But see, when you didn't have the whole picture, those two references didn't mean anything.
Nope.
You're like, who's running around saying that they're Jews and not? And half the people reading it, they were, Israelite themselves and didn't even know. Like, oh yeah. So when you look at channels like this and you look at the other ones and say, oh man, these black people and these melanated people are saying that they're Israel and stuff like that, see, they're the one. No, we just found out. Yeah. You've been doing it for centuries. We just found out. You lied to us, not the other way around. That's the difference. First time we ever read Revelation 2:9 and 3:9, we didn't even think we were Jews. We didn't think we were Israelites. So how did we lie about it? At best, you got, well, I wonder who's saying that. That's all we had. Until the Spirit came, opened our eyes, and like, oh, okay, so much more of history makes sense now. Our affliction makes sense now.
Where's Idumea on the map?
Yeah. Yeah. Where's Idumea? Yeah. Oh. And then we know Rome, they just changed the names of everything. We know that a lot of times, places were named after people and things like that. We know Egypt is really Mizraim, but they changed it to something else. Change it to Egypt and all that. They just changed the names, This country wasn't called America, but the name got changed to America. America.
Miracles.
Yeah. Amerigo Vespucci. Even Africa wasn't even called Africa. It was called the land of Ham. But that's renamed after some guy named Africanus. So it's all there. When you hear these weird, funny little names in the Bible of these places and stuff, they're still there. They're just renamed. They're still there. Yep. It's still right there. It's just another name on it. Let us continue in 14. They said, nor have laid hands on their substance in the day of their calamity. In 14. Neither
shouldest thou have stood in the crossway to cut off those of his that did escape. Neither shouldest thou have delivered up those of this that did remain in the day of distress.
What else?
For the day of the Lord is near upon all the heathen.
Yes, it is.
As thou hast done, it shall be done unto thee.
What? Uh-oh. Go ahead.
Thy reward shall return upon thine own head.
Ah, there. See? What you have done, it will be done to you. All goes with reaping and sowing. All of it's going to be done to you, those who've done that. I told you he's going to deal with everybody when he gets back, so I didn't want to leave anybody out. He's going to deal with everybody who's done that. He's going to deal with everybody who's furthered the affliction. Because I tell you right now, the punishment of Israel, the suffering and everything, we're suffering right now. We're dealing with the curses right now, right? Okay, so when he comes back, he's going to reverse all that. Say, okay, this punishment, it's done. Now, everyone who went way too far, you're going to have to pay. I never told you to feed Israelite babies to alligators. I never told you that. I never told you to put my children in Roman coliseums and watch animals rip them apart. I think you guys are getting a picture, right? Yes. You went too far. Oh, well, Israelites, see, in the Bible, they had slaves too. They also had rules. They also had rules. Certain times, certain provisions, you had to set some slaves free. If they say, "Oh no, I love my master, I want to stay," boom, you pierce their ear, whatever, and they want to stay. But they wanted to stay. They had, yeah, couldn't have been that bad.
We're supposed to treat them as one of our own.
You're supposed to do nice. But see, because when you had a slave, see what it means is that now you are their employer. Okay. You are their way of life. You are how they live. But see, other people, when they go into slavery, they went way too far. Raping, killing, busting up families, sending them over here, over there, and all that other stuff. Sleeping with kids. Never told you to do that. Lord never told you to do that. And you did it. It was in your own wicked heart. Never told you to do all that. He allowed it to happen for a time because at the end, he said, I'm going to settle it up. I'm going to get it all taken care of. I'm going to take care of it when he gets back. Going to have to deal with it. Just like we had to deal with the curses of our forefathers and it got passed down and some of their punishment. Just like people who are not of Israel benefited from slavery, benefited from what their forefathers did, you're going to have to deal with what comes along with that. That's just how it is. We're going to continue. That's just how it is. Go to Revelation. We were here before. Go to Revelation 14. Revelation 14. Just going to have to deal with it. Revelation 14, we're going to pick it up in verse 15. This war. See, everyone's going to get dealt with. We're just still dealing with this war. We're going to come out of it in here shortly. But I want to give you guys as thorough an understanding as possible. Revelation 14, pick it up at verse 15. Let the Bible speak.
And another angel came out of the temple, crying with a loud voice to him that sat on the cloud, Thrust in thy sickle and reap, for the time is come for thee to reap, for the harvest of the earth is ripe. And he that sat on the cloud thrust his sickle on the earth, and the earth was reaped. And another angel came out of the temple which is in heaven, he also having a sharp sickle.
Go ahead.
And another angel came out from the altar, which had power over fire, and cried with a loud cry to him that said, who had the sharp sickle, saying, Thrust in thy sharp sickle, and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for her grapes are fully ripe.
Go ahead.
And the angel thrust in his sickle into the earth, and gathered the vine of the earth, and cast it into the great winepress of the wrath of God.
Yep.
And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress, even unto the horses' bridles, by the space of 1,600 furlongs.
That's how much blood he gathered. Everybody, he says, scoop everybody up. Everyone who's supposed to be in this war, make sure they get there. Everyone, because those who's supposed to get crushed, they're going to get crushed. Period. No people straddling the fence, and no one slipping through the cracks or nothing like that. Everyone who's supposed to get dealt with will get dealt with in this war, because there will be no fence, no line right there. No. It's going to be either you're with him on the righteous side, or he's going to deal with you for being wicked. It says in Revelation, let the righteous be righteous still, let the wicked be wicked still. There won't be no atheists in that day. No agnostics in that day. You're with them or you're against them. That is it. Black and white, that is it. That's what you're going to get in that day. Okay? And the winepress was trodden without the city, and blood came out of the winepress. You see the symbolism? We said winepress, grapes, and all that stuff. Now, this time he didn't say grape juice. He said blood this time, right? Blood came out of the winepress. Okay? Even unto the horse's bridle. That's how, that much blood. Up to the horse's bridle, that much blood. It's gonna be a lot of blood shed in the streets. Okay, we finished that. Let's go to a couple of places in Isaiah. We'll come back to Revelation shortly here, but let's go to a couple of places in Isaiah first.
I think that's the first one.
Let's see here. Isaiah 2. I'm just going to read one verse there. So all the people who think that they're going to be able to stand against the Lord, because some people, for whatever reason, they are going to think that they can defeat the Lord. They're going to be haughty and high-minded. Let's just read one verse, Isaiah 2 and verse 12, and then we'll move on to Isaiah 66. Go ahead, brother.
For the day of the Lord of hosts shall be upon everyone that is proud and lofty, and upon everyone that is lifted up, and he shall be brought low.
And he shall be brought low. Now, let's go to Isaiah 66. I'm going to read a little bit here, Isaiah 66. So let's take a look at this. Okay, Isaiah 66. Pick it up at verse 15, brother. Verse 15. Go ahead. 66 and 15.
For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire.
What else?
For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many.
Now, when he's talking about it's going to be high up to the horse's bridle, you see, you get the picture here? I mean, that's all he's saying, is it's the fire of the Lord. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. And 17, go ahead, brother.
They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord.
And they shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. Now drop down to verse 23 so we can move on. Go ahead, brother.
And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord.
Go ahead.
And they shall go forth and look upon the carcass of the men that have transgressed against me. For their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched. And they shall be abhorring unto all flesh.
You know how when you see something, and you know how women sometimes they cover their mouth or whatever when they see it because they're like, oh, like that. Yeah, that's how it's going to be. From one Sabbath to another, from one new moon to every month, you're going to worship before the Lord in that day. And you're going to see these burning bodies right there. And you're going to know, because they're going to be abhorring, you're going to know these people went against God. Thank Yah, I'm not one of them. That's what you're going to do. That's going to be sitting there burning, and their fire won't go out. So it's a reminder for you and I when we go up to worship the Lord every month. That's your reminder right there. The fire will not be, it's going to be there every time, just so you can see. Those people, they went against the Lord. The slain of the Lord shall be many, right?
Sure.
You do not want to be one of these people. It is going to be worldwide destruction. And speaking of which, let's go to Jeremiah 25. Very next book. One book up. Go to Jeremiah 25. One book up. Very next book. Okay. So go to chapter 25, and I want to read 32 and 33. Okay. Let's see. Show you that it is going to be worldwide. Go ahead. Jeremiah 25:32.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth.
Everywhere. Go ahead.
And the slain of the Lord shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth.
So a man being precious as fine gold, that seems to be pretty accurate, huh? Go ahead.
They shall not be lamented, neither gathered nor buried.
Yep.
They shall be dung upon the ground.
See, they're not going to be lamented. You're going to be crying about them. You're not going to bury them. You're not going to do any of that. We're going to look at another spot where it says that too, okay? Because Ezekiel 39 is going to give us a little insight into that. We'll go up 2 books forward. Go to Ezekiel chapter 39. Just a bunch of dead bodies going to be everywhere, but we're going to see how that works. Ezekiel chapter 39 and verse 17. 39 and verse 17, when you do get there, and we're going to take a look at this according to the Lord. Verse 17. Go ahead, brother.
And thou, son of man, thus saith the Lord God, speak unto every feathered fowl and to every beast of the field, assemble yourselves and come, gather yourselves on every side to my sacrifice, that I do sacrifice for you, even a great sacrifice upon the mountains of Israel.
That to what? To do what?
That ye may eat flesh and drink blood.
That's what they're going to do. Go ahead and read a little bit more.
Ye shall eat the flesh of the mighty, and drink the blood of the princes of the earth, of rams and of lambs and of goats, of bullocks, all of them fatlings of Bashan. And ye shall eat fat till ye be full, and drink blood till ye be drunken, of my sacrifice which I have sacrificed for you.
Talking to the animals, okay? I'm going to kill a whole lot of people. You're going to have plenty to eat. Go ahead.
Thus ye shall be filled at my table with horses and chariots, with mighty men, and with all men of war, saith the Lord God.
Y'all get the picture?
Yes.
Okay, you get the picture. Same thing in Revelation, the same thing we just read in Isaiah, the same thing, okay? We're going to move on now to start rounding it out, okay? Revelation 19 and 18. We're going to read one verse, and then we're going to move on. Revelation 19 and 18. He already gave us a picture. We're going to look at it one more time. 19 and verse 18. Let's look at the 19 and 18, and then we'll move on to the next chapter. Okay, 19 and 18. Now, what is it that he wanted to do with these animals again? 19, 18?
that they may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all men, both free and bond, both small and great.
See, we read that before, but I wanted to hit that again. See? Man, precious, fine gold, gathered in the gatherer, Jehoshaphat, come to the supper of the Lord, all the fowls and everything. Ezekiel, talk to the animals. Tell them, come on over here. I mean, it's all right there. Give us a picture. He foreshadows it does it on a small scale. Now he's going to do it on a worldwide, big scale. Big scale. Now everybody wants to look at the top. Am I saying this right? Topography. Okay, the land masses and things like that. Remember, there's a lot of earthquakes and mountains are going to be moved and islands will be moved. When all this stuff happens, the earth won't look quite the same as it is right now.
It's going to lay it flat.
Yeah. Yeah, you see? So it's not going to be exactly the same, because some people, they want to look at some maps and stuff. I don't know how this is going to work. And we read earthquake over earthquake over earthquake over hail and mountains fleeing.
From their places.
Storms, lightnings, signs in heaven, wormwood hitting the earth. I mean, so much is going to be different. You're not in Kansas anymore. It's that simple. It's really that simple. Okay? Let's move on. So we can agree it's going to be really different, right?
Amen.
So let's go to Revelation 20 real quick. And let's take a look at this, and we're going to start rounding this out and wrapping it up. Let's take a look. Revelation 20, pick it up at verse 1.
And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit, and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years.
So we know who we're dealing with. Go ahead. He bound him for 1,000 years. Okay, that's the millennial reign, but go ahead.
And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he shall deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years shall be fulfilled. And after that he must be loose a little season.
Continue.
And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Jesus, and for the word of God, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Christ 1,000 years.
Okay, so they're still talking about the 1,000 years. Now they're going to go past that and everything, but we're going to go back and look at a little bit of the 1,000 years too. But just remember, when they're talking, these prophets and the apostle in this case, they talk about things or events over an expanse of time. Okay, so that's what we have to look at. Now we're talking about the 1,000 years, but we're going to look a little bit. We're going to take a peek. We're going to pull back the curtain and kind of look at, well, what's it going to be like during that 1,000 years? We're going to look at that in a minute too. But let's finish this first. Go ahead, brother. Now after the 1,000 years, which is in verse 5.
Go
ahead.
Okay, but the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection.
Go ahead.
Blessed and holy is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death hath no power.
There are two resurrections, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
But they shall be priests of God and of Christ, and shall reign with him 1,000 years.
We're still talking about that 1,000 years. What else is going to happen?
And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of his prison, and shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle.
Now this is a different battle. See, Armageddon is done. Okay, that's done. It's over. We're going to our 1,000 years. You got your millennial reign, and then after the millennial reign, because see, Armageddon happens before the millennial reign. Then you have the 1,000 years, and now we're talking about after the 1,000 years. See, they didn't even, right here, they didn't even talk about what's going to be like during the millennial reign. They just kind of went right through, and they're just getting right to it, okay? But continue. He said, and shall go, I'm sorry, were you in 7?
Yeah, we're on 8. We're at the end of 8.
At the end of 8. Go ahead, brother.
And gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea.
Now remember when he was trapped in the bottomless pit, he didn't influence the world anymore. So during the millennial kingdom, no one had the devil's influence. Like right now, we know he's the prince of the power of the air right now. He has a lot of influence. But there's going to be a time where people don't have that influence over them. Why? Because the Lord is here. He's King of Kings and Lord of Lords. So they're going to have God. They're going to have his kings. Okay, David will be resurrected. All these people are back again. David, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, everyone is back. Okay? So everyone, it's going to be nothing but truth during that 1,000 years. And peace during that 1,000 years. Okay? All your questions will be answered. All that. So no influence from the devil whatsoever. But the reason he's going to be let loose at the end of the 1,000 years, because everyone has to make a choice. At the end of it, do you want to continue to serve the Lord? Just like right now, we get a choice, right? We get a choice whether we want to serve him or not, right? The same people who are walking in that millennial kingdom and those who are born in that millennial kingdom or whatever, they got to make the same choice at the end. It's just that they're going to get a whole lot of truth at first. They don't have to worry about the things that we have to deal with. They don't have to worry about Christmas and Easter and all that other stuff. And we don't have to worry about camp fighting and stuff like this and sacred name this and that and Rome and Egypt. And we don't have to, they during this time don't have to worry about that. However, you don't know how good you have something until you have the opposite. So you got to let the devil out so you can know and really realize what you have. Without darkness, there is no light. So let me give you a little bit of darkness so that you understand what you really have. And then you have to make a decision. And we know some people actually choose to go his way because it says that he shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four corners of the earth, so all over the earth, Gog and Magog, to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea. So some people say, you know what, I didn't like this whole millennial thing or whatever. I think I'm going to go with this guy. This guy, he seems like he has a better idea. I'm going to go with him. Everyone's got to make a choice, right? Go ahead, brother.
And they went up on the breast of the earth.
And now let's check out this epic battle. Go ahead. They went up on the breadth of the earth, and what happened?
And compassed the camp of the saints about.
Oh, they surrounded the saints, and what happened?
And the beloved city.
All right, now the fight's about to get good. What's going to happen? Go ahead.
And fire came down from God out of heaven and devoured them.
Oh, wait, it's over? That's it? Wait a minute. And there's that battle. You thought Armageddon was short. This bad boy is it's a snapshot. Just boom. Father said, nope.
That's the Father.
Nope. From his throne. Nope. And devoured them. Verse 10, brother.
And the devil that deceived them was cast into the lake of fire and brimstone, where the beast and the false prophet are, and shall be tormented day and night forever and ever.
Go ahead.
And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it.
You know what? We're going to get back to that a little bit later. Because the great white throne is after the millennium. And then the devil and all that. And we saw this great, this riveting battle. Then we're going to come back to this, okay, at the end. We're going to come back to this, and we're going to read Revelation 20, and we're going to go through 11 and 15, because we want to go after the millennium. But let's go ahead and take a peek behind the curtain and see some of the conditions during the millennial reign. Then we'll get to this, and we're done, okay? So first, let's go ahead and look at, I got a couple of places here. Let's go to Daniel 2 and 44. We're just going to read one verse there, and then we're going to move on. Daniel 2 and verse 44. Okay, and then we're going to move on. Daniel 2 and 44, then we're going to go to Isaiah. All right, when you get there, let's see how long our Lord will be ruling. 2 and 44. Go ahead, brother.
And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Okay, so we know once he sets it up, we know it's here to stay, right? So we got that part going. Now, go to Isaiah. So you're going to go back a few books. Isaiah 65, so we can start wrapping this up. Okay, and I want to start at verse 8. All right, we're almost done. You still with me, Israel? All right, so let's look at this. Isaiah what?
Isaiah 65.
65 verse 8.
Yep, verse 8. 65 and verse 8. All right, we're going to read a little bit and then we'll move around. Verse 8, go ahead, brother.
Thus saith the Lord, as the new wine is found in the cluster, and one saith, destroy it not, for a blessing is in it, so will I do for my servant's sake, that I may not destroy them all. Yes, Lord, go ahead. And I will bring forth a seed out of Jacob, and out of Judah an inheritor of my mountains, and mine elect shall inherit it. Yes, we will. Go ahead. And my servants shall dwell there. Yes, we will. Go ahead. And Sharon shall be a fold of flocks.
That's a name. That's a name for one of the names, one of the titles for our Lord, Rose of Sharon. Go ahead. And Sharon shall
be a fold of flocks in the valley of Achor, a place for the herds to lie down in, for my people that have sought me.
Yes, for those who have sought him. Go to 13, verse 13.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servants shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed.
Those who are not his. Go ahead.
Behold, my servants shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit.
Then the Bible say, you know, there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Yep.
Talks about that stuff. Okay. So continue, brother.
And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen.
Yes, sir.
For the Lord God shall slay thee, and call his servants by another name.
You're going to call us by another name. Go ahead.
That he who blesseth himself in the earth shall bless himself in the God of truth.
Yes.
And he that sweareth in the earth shall swear by the God of truth. Because the former troubles are forgotten.
Yes, Lord.
And because they are hid from mine eyes. For behold, I create new heavens and a new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind.
Sounds like Revelation, doesn't it? Yep. Go ahead.
But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people.
Yes.
And the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. There shall be no more thence an infant of days, nor an old man that hath not filled his days.
There will not be an infant of days, or you won't die short. You won't get cut short at this time, okay, during that millennium. Nor an old man that has not filled his days. Our forefathers, live 4, 5, 6, 800, 900 years. Okay, go ahead.
For the child shall die 100 years old, but the sinner being 100 years old shall be accursed.
Go ahead.
And they shall build houses and inhabit them.
Ah, okay.
And they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them.
Okay, so now during the millennium, you build a house, it's yours. You get to live in it. Someone else doesn't take it, put a whip to your back and take it and stuff like that. That's not going to happen, okay? You get to plant vineyards, you get to eat from it. Sounds fair.
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
They shall not build and another inhabit. They shall not plant and another eat.
Yep.
For as the days of a tree are the days of my people, and mine elect shall long enjoy the work of their hands.
Ah, you're going to enjoy the work of your hands? Go ahead. That sounds fair. Go ahead.
They shall not labor in vain, nor bring forth for trouble, for they are the seed of the blessed of the Lord, and their offspring with them.
Go ahead, brother.
And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer.
I'll give you everything you need. He will answer. Go ahead.
And while they are yet speaking, I will hear.
Yep. I know what you want. In that day, that's going to happen. Go ahead. And what else is going to be like during that this millennial kingdom? Go ahead.
The wolf and the lamb shall feed together. The lion shall eat straw like the bullock. And the dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountains, saith the Lord.
Interesting. That's kind of a nice picture right there, isn't it? When that happens. Let's look at a little bit more of it so we can wrap it up. Go to Zechariah. Let's look at a little bit more of him. I like him being in charge. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. Go to Zechariah. We'll pick it up in verse 1. Let's look at it some more. Let's say, what's it going to be like when the Lord is running things, okay?
You said verse 1?
Verse 1. Zechariah 14, chapter 14 and verse 1. Okay? You can get there, brother? Go ahead, brother.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken, and the houses rifled, and the woman ravished, and half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
Go ahead.
Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he hath fought in the day of battle. And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives, which is before Jerusalem on the east. And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west. And there shall be a very great valley, and half of the mountain shall remove toward the north, and half of it toward the south. And And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azal. Yea, ye shall flee, like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah.
Go ahead.
And the Lord my God shall come, and all the saints with thee.
Okay.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the light shall not be clear nor dark, but it shall be one day which shall be known to the Lord, not day nor night. But it shall come to pass that at evening time it shall be light. And it shall be in that day that living water shall go out from Jerusalem, and half of them toward the former sea, and half of them toward the hinder sea. And in summer and in winter shall it be. And the Lord shall be the king over all the earth.
Okay.
In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one.
Okay, go ahead.
All the land shall be turned as a plain from Jeba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem, and it shall be lifted up and inhabited in their place from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Haniel unto the king's wine presses.
I tell you what, he's been real specific and just describing exactly where he's going to be. So we have no need to speculate, guess, wonder, whatever. It's like, hey, he's pretty clear saying exactly where he is going to be and what he's going to do. Continue, brother.
And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction. But Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited.
But is Jerusalem safely inhabited right now?
Nope.
I don't think so. Go ahead.
And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem.
What's going to happen for those who fought against Jerusalem in that day? Go ahead.
Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth.
That doesn't sound nice. Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem.
Yes, he will.
And the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together.
What are we going to get?
Gold and silver and apparel in great abundance.
Wow. When he said things are going to be reversed, they're going to be reversed, people. It's going to be reversed. Go ahead.
And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents, and as this plague.
What else?
And it shall come to pass that every one that is left of all the nations which come against Jerusalem shall even go up from year to year to worship the king.
Has this happened yet?
No, sir.
Not yet. Go ahead.
The Lord of hosts, and to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
I thought we don't have to do that. Nope. But when he comes back, we're going to have to do it.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, brother.
We'll have to do it. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. And if the family of Egypt go not up and come not, they have no rain. There shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite the heathen that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles.
You got to come. Sorry, you don't get a choice. You got to come. Go ahead.
This shall be the punishment of Egypt, and the punishment of all nations that come not up to keep the Feast of Tabernacles. In that day shall there be upon the bells of the horses holiness unto the Lord, and the pots in the Lord's house shall be like the bowls, the bowls before the altar. Yea, every pot in Jerusalem and in Judah shall be holiness unto the Lord of hosts, and all that they sacrifice shall come and take of them, and seethe therein. And in that day there shall be no more the Canaanite in the house of the Lord of hosts.
Right. See, that is just that's a picture that we all have to get. Okay, so we just got 2 spots and we're done with this lesson. And as promised, we went through all the things that led to the end of days. So let's go to our last 2 spots and finish up. Now, what I want to do, I want to end with the white throne judgment. So let's go to Luke 12 first. And then we'll go to Revelation and finish it up. So let's go to Luke 12 first. Got 2 spots we want to get to. Luke 12. And we're going to pick it up at verse 35. Luke 12 and 35. When you get there, let the Bible speak.
Let your loins be girded about, and your lights burning.
Yes.
And ye yourselves like unto men that wait for the Lord, when he will return from the wedding, that when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching.
Okay, now 2 things I want to point out to all of us, Israel, is this. One, when he say he prepared for the wedding, typically in the custom, a young man would have a bride, whether, you know, engaged or whatever, and he says, okay, you stay here at your father's house, you stay with your parents, I'm going to go and prepare a place for us. You understand? I'm going to go to prepare a place for us, and then I'm going to come back, pick up my bride, and take her to the place that I have prepared. But you need to be waiting and still acting like you are married or engaged to me. Either way, it doesn't matter. You still don't step out on me because I'm going over here to prepare a place. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to pick you up. I'm going to receive you. Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Yep.
Because that's what happens. But when he comes back, he wants to see, are you waiting? Are you expecting me to come back? I told you I was coming back. You believe me, right? So your behavior needs to reflect the fact that you were waiting on me faithfully. Continue.
Middle 37.
Go ahead.
Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And if ye shall come into in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants.
Yes, find them ready. Find those expecting his return. Blessed are those who are ready, who's waiting, who is expecting. Go ahead.
And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched, and not have suffered his house to be broken through. But be ye therefore ready also.
Yes.
For the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all? And the Lord said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? I'm
going to put you in a position of authority. I'm going to reward you. I'm going to have all this stuff ready for you. But who's worthy of this? Who's ready and waiting? Go ahead.
Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing.
It's all about being ready. Do y'all get this? Y'all picking this up, right?
Yes.
That's what he's talking about. Read it. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Go ahead.
Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath.
Go ahead.
And if that servant say in his heart, My Lord delayeth his coming,
Jesus ain't coming back. Go ahead.
And shall begin to beat the manservants and maidens, and to eat and drink, and to be drunken.
In other words, go right back off into that wickedness, because Jesus ain't coming back. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Go ahead.
The Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers.
Oh, with the ones who don't have faith. I'm going to appoint his portion with the unbelievers, the ones who were not ready. So if you wake up in that second resurrection, you already know what's about to happen to you. You were not ready. You were not waiting. You were not being faithful. You thought, oh, well, whatever. Go ahead, brother.
And that servant which knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
Go ahead.
But he that knew not, and did commit things worthy of stripes, shall be beaten with few stripes. For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required. And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more.
Go ahead.
I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I if it be already kindled? Okay, so we already know he's going to come send fire on the earth. He hasn't done that yet, but we know that's what's going to happen. So we went through a lot in this series. We're going to go to this last place to wrap it up, which is Revelation 20, so we can go. Revelation 20. And we're going to start in verse 11, and we are done. 11 through 15, and we are done. All right, Revelation 20, 11 through 15, and we are done. When you get there, brother,
Let the Bible speak.
And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works.
According to, I thought you didn't have to do anything. According to your works, go ahead.
And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And there were judged every man according to their works.
According to their works, go ahead.
And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death.
Amen, amen. Go ahead.
And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire.
You don't want no part of that. So now we have a picture of kind of sort of what it's going to look like, at least according to Scripture, to the best of our ability. And we saw we did have to move around a little bit and go precept upon precept, line upon line, because we know that sometimes we can be reading and then the writer jumps through time. Okay? Just like in Matthew 24, when our Lord, he kind of jumped through time when he's explaining all those things. They're happening at different times. They're kind of rolling out and unfolding. Okay? But in our series, In the Days, we went through 7 seals. We went through the 7 trumpets. We went through the wrath of God, which we're not appointed to. The 7 bowls or vials, which is the wrath of God. We saw all that culminate into the battle of Armageddon. A futile effort by wicked men, but they will try nonetheless. Then we went through the millennial and kind of got a little picture of what's it going to be like when the Lord is ruling himself. And we even learned where he's going to be. In Jerusalem. And everything round about. We saw the nature of animals. Where they're going to be nice. They're not going to be trying to eat us. We know that lifespans are going to be expanded during the millennial kingdom. Man, 100-year-olds, he'll be considered a child right now. During that time. We know that we still have to go up to the Feast of Tabernacles when he gets here. And finally, we just read the white throne room judgment, which takes place after the millennium. So we have an idea where we went through the Bible and we let the Bible paint the picture for us. We let the Bible tell us what's going to happen. Trying my very best to leave out all bias and speculations and opinion. I hope everyone got a clear picture of the end of days. Amen?
Amen.
All right, so with that, until next time, you search the Scriptures and prove all things. Also, on a side note, I want to just say for those of us who are in the mindset of preparing, okay, the Fountain of Israel has gotten or purchased Remnant Ranch. Very raw land, very, very new. But those who are interested and have questions about that and want to live in community, okay, with alternative power, email us at foibiblestudies@inbox.com. foibiblestudies@inbox.com. Until next time, search the Scriptures and prove all things.